Hello, Sumo fans. We are back. It's July. Beautiful, beautiful weather.
It's gorgeous weather.
And beautiful, beautiful sumo.
It is just because May, June, July are typically busy because you can go outside and enjoy it. It felt like so long since we've done this.
I know. Every time.
I was just like, there's all this stuff going on. And then I'd be like, is Sumo on yet? I was like, oh, it's still early June. And it feels like forever. And then compared to like earlier on when we're like counting the seconds.
We're like, when is Sumo coming back? Yeah. It's winter. I can't leave my house.
There's nothing to do. But yeah, we're back. It feels like a while. But this is the way Sumo is. It's like as soon as you realize it's all coming back, it's a rush. You're just like, Sumo,
I can't wait. I was on vacation and I was, evangelizing for Sumo. It was very fun. I was showing people Sumo matches on the boardwalk and, maybe I got some new people to listen, but we'll see. So we are going to start where we always start, the fun at the top with Teruno Fuji, who is, of course, the only Yokozuna. He won last time. It was kind of sketchy, was he going to win? But he has that Yokozuna thing, so of course he always had the capability of doing it. So the question is now, how long do we have him?
Yeah, it's from the first pullout, which that was March. It was already, he's falling apart a little bit. So he clearly got it together. He did, the Yokozuna resolve carried him through a couple of things because he had the rough patches, but then near the end, there's nobody could beat him. So, I feel like even that version of Teruno Fuji is still unstoppable. Even though now he's beatable, there's the aura of immortality that was so tantalizing. That's gone for now. But it's still Teruno Fuji. It's still the Yokozuna. It's still the guy who's going to have your number almost every day. So it does feel like it's just a cold calculation of time. Where's your egg timer at? How long are those knees going to hang?
Yeah, it's the cruel fate of all human beings that eventually we can't be at the top of our game. And he's got two factors. One being that he really is a monster of a sumo wrestler. And had he never been injured, he would have been in there messing with Hakuho's records for sure.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we've had a very subpar class behind him. So it's really, the gap is wider than it should be.
That's an interesting point, and we're definitely going to get into a few of the snoozers.
Yeah, we're really hoping they wake up.
We do. There's some hope out there. At present, not seeing it.
No, we have no reason to think. Well, Teruno Fuji winning is not a foregone conclusion, but we have no reason to think anybody right now at this moment in time is going to come up and be the next Teruno Fuji.
There's nothing there.
But eventually, that moment will happen, and we will be there when it happens.
Yeah, there are rising stars. We're in this weird null zone that there's people coming up. They're not ready yet, but the movement upwards is there. And then all the people who are supposed to be moving up there are stagnating.
Yes, a lot of stagnation here, which would bring us to our next, the Ozeki woes.
Oh, God.
The trio of woeing Ozeki. First is Takakeisho. He's brought himself back up to Ozeki 1 East after several, Kadoban, not Kadoban, barely scraping by situations. 8 and 7. The Takakeisho that won the Yusho in 2018, was it? Or was it 2019? The Takakeisho that won the most recent tournament for him could blast you out of the ring in 3 pushes. And so you never had to see him fight more than 15 seconds. I mean, that's the thing that everyone talks about now is if Takakeisho has to go more than 15 seconds, the match is over. Mm-hmm. Because the endurance is just not there. Well, now he doesn't have the power either. And the question is, I think the picture's starting to open up a little bit just by hearing some Chris Sumo videos and some other things that have been out there. It's probably the neck. The neck zapped his power. And it is now a a reoccurring injury that's not going away. So now he has to change his sumo to keep going. And the question is it possible?
So I feel that first off, he got an 8-7, which is not a very good rank for an Ozeki, but very telling is that he's the only person who got a Kachikoshi.
Yes.
So all things being equal, everybody has their problems. He's working through them as best he can. So the telling parts of May was the prominence of the Plan B Takakeisho sumo, in that he did belt work, he did side steps, he did pulls, he did all sorts of stuff, showing that the sumo sense that he has, like that really sharp timing and vision, and just the grit, the willpower alone, I feel like got him that 8th win.
Yeah, I mean, there was one match, I can't remember who it was against, but he did defy the 15-second rule.
Uh-huh.
Takakeisho is more than a one-trick pony. He gets accused of it. The thing is, he's never had to show it before. He's never had to work on it. When the power came, he was able to rely on it, and now he can't. And we're going to see this sort of different Takakeisho, and either he's going to be a guy who falls out, or he's going to be a guy who completely transforms. It's not very different from Terunofuji in that Terunofuji could, drink himself silly every night and beat up everybody the next day, and then he gets diabetes and hurts his knees, and now he has to become a different fighter.
Yep, this reminds me a little bit of Kiseno Sato as well, because he had his injury, and then he, overnight, his main sumo was gone. And Kiseno Sato is it's a whole story.
That's a whole other
thing. The comparison is, and this is the same for Terunofuji, and similar for anybody who has this basically style-altering injury, is the pathway forward is no longer clear. He has this very murky, very troubled path to success. I'm banking on Takakeisho's never say die attitude, at least allowing him to grind through it.
Yeah.
He does need to show more than he has if we want to have any sort of hope out of him.
Yeah, he may never reach Yokozuna. That may be impossible.
It's starting to show.
But he may be able to stay Ozeki for a longer time than someone else in this situation.
Yes.
And we need Ozekis too. I mean, everybody's like, if you don't ascend, then you're useless. No, we need strong Ozekis. And you know what? If the best he can do is win titles, I'll take it. So it is what it is for Takakeisho. We are as uncertain as he is. But I will say that Chris Sumo does this thing now where you can donate once a year or whatever, and he'll send messages to the wrestlers at the summer tour. I made a donation and sent a message. So I hope Takakeisho gets them and responds generally to the messages.
Receives your energy.
It would be very cool.
That would be very cool.
By extension, it is this podcast community that has sent a message to Takakeisho.
Yeah, we'll see what he gets back. And again, I feel like we're not done with him. It's just, where is he going to end up in all this? And positive spin on the end. He's cleared Kadoban. So
yes, he can start fresh again.
So it's a fresh start for him. He's got the mantle of the best Ozeki. So he's got that pride. He's got the energy, the momentum. Well, hopefully some of that translates into winning ways.
Yes. We're rooting for you. So next we have Mitakayumi, 6-9. First Kadoban performance as an Ozeki. This is something that happens. I mean, it's been the trend. So this is really more of, is this a speed bump? It was inevitable. The question is, when you're 6-9, what do you do next? Is this the start of something, or was this just, this happens and we're going to move on?
Yeah, when I was sitting there and I was thinking, because with basic, as trends go, if Takakeisho gets Kadoban, you have a trend to think that he'll fight through it. And then if Shodai gets Kadoban, you're kind of wondering how is he going to get out of this? It's like a season-ending cliffhanger. Shodai with Kadoban. We'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah.
But with Mitakayumi, I can see any result happening. I can see Mitakayumi having a complete collapse, double-digit losses and falling out of Ozeki. I can see him just 8-7 on the last day. Or I can see him winning the Yusho and being like, whatever, guys, I just had a bad outing.
Yeah.
It's a complete like mystery box to me. And so there's a part of me that's actually fascinated by the fact that I have no bearing on what Mitake Yumi's going to do this summer. Now, usually the summer basho is also his basho.
Yes, so
That's another X factor for him. Is
the
that
precedent.
we're in Nagoya. We're not stuck in Japan anymore. And so the slippery dohyo is his court.
He likes that that sweaty.
I think 2 of his Yushos came from the summer.
Yeah, and his very first one.
So I don't know. It's this swirling chaos.
Now, I did see a headline. I'm really behind in my Chris Sumo videos that said Mitake Yumi has an injury.
That's the other X factor, is that apparently he's not been doing much training and he's working an injury. And this is the way it is.
Everybody's injured, so...
it's part of it's like everybody's injured. Maybe some people don't have as much training as others. This is also something that happened as a result of COVID, is that some people were just going into tournaments blind almost.
Yeah.
Because all they could do was the training. As a side note, interstable training seems to have started back up again. And
very good.
I believe after this is the start of the first Jungyo, the tours.
The summer tour, yep.
So this is part from Mitake Yumi and sort of as a larger description of the whole sumo tournament in general coming on, is that there is this return to normalcy. There is this availability of things that could have been impeding people before.
Yes.
And particularly the case for people that don't have a lot of high-ranking competition. I was going to mention Takayasu as somebody who interstable training would have greatly benefited. Takayasu is going to be benched for COVID, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But again, Mitake Yumi, there's a lot going on with him right here. And he's still got the Katoban.
Right, so he's got to first clear that and go from there. And so he just got to focus on winning the first 8 days. If he pulls that off, then he can start thinking tournament in the same he can think about the Yusho in the same tournament where he was Katoban. He has the potential to have like 2 different stories in the same tournament.
There's so many things that Mitake Yumi can do right now. And some amazing, some absolutely harrowing. Some, I should have seen that coming, I guess.
Right.
I was like, of course he did.
It's like, you really can't see it coming because I don't know if Mitake Yumi understands himself.
It's a lockbox.
It is.
It's fine. But it'll be, so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Ozeki. As we mentioned with Terunofuji, none of these people are performing the way we want them to, but there's almost a fascination for me in how much I have no idea what's going on with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it would be boring if it was predictable. So it's kind of cool that he's up in Ozeki, like, throwing a big wrench in the predictability element.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our next guy, Shodai, 5-10. It seems like the only way he can get out of a situation is if his back's against the wall.
The way that March ended with Shodai rallying back, doing this awesome sumo, we're like, God, we said it, we're like, he figured it out in the last week. Like, where he would be at his weakest, he was at his strongest. And then the 5-10 happens in May, and we're like, oh.
And he was like, even like a shadow of the guy in March who started off with such a bad thing.
Started out bad, and like, the back against the wall Shodai is really our last hope for him, for Ozeki. If he can't get 8 wins now, there's no way in heck he's getting 10 wins in September.
Ozekiwaki, yeah. The thing is, sumo wrestlers are still people, right? And you could be a highly skilled person, but have a personality that can't handle the pressure, or a personality that just falls off all the time. That's just the reality. And Shodai, we know he's talented enough to at least get to Ozeki, but he might not have the personality to stay there.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I really just hope that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the darkness closing in on this one, and it's just like I'm almost like, I'm nostalgic for the days of yore when Shodai was reliable and powerful and sort of had that weird happy-go-lucky, how did I get here attitude.
I know. It's It's tough because I feel that way about sumo in general. Is there was this time where there were 4 Yokozuna and all these young guys coming up, and it just felt like, wow, look at all this competition, and now you see people who you thought so highly of them just falling off now.
Falling away.
And you do have to count COVID into it. I mean, COVID kind of screwed up everybody everywhere. And maybe with things going back to normal, maybe some of these guys will go back to normal. You never know.
This is part of the hope, I guess I'm projecting from myself onto this, is now that we're getting this return to the way things were. I'm not going to say return to normal. I'm going to say, like,
coming out of the trauma.
Coming out of the trauma a little bit. Maybe some of this will be a refresher.
Yeah, we can only hope. And I'm hoping, that Shodai gets some sort of encouragement from somewhere in his world that helps him get through this. Now we get to talk about a positive individual, which is Wakataka Kage. He maintains his rank with the 9 and 6 because there's nowhere else for him to go. So let's see. Yusho winning 12 and 3 in March. This puts his Ozeki promotion number at 12 for this tournament?
Yes. If he gets 12 wins now, that's 33.
Okay.
And because he's won the Yusho in March, and then he got 9 wins in May, if he gets another 12, that's the magic number.
But what they did to Taka Keisho in this position was actually make him win again. They made him go beyond the 33.
So
they could do that to him even with the 12.
I feel that there's a few ways this goes down. First off, he has to get 12 wins, which is not going to be easy for him.
No.
It's doable for him, particularly the sort of like the sharpened, honed, powerful Wakataka Kage, who, by the way, will then have Wakamoto Haru literally helping him out.
Yeah.
The thing is I feel that part of the yay or nay on Wakataka Kage may have to do with whether or not Mitakeumi and Shodai keep Kadoban.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So let's say Mitakeumi and Shodai both clear, and then Wakataka Kage gets 11, 12 wins. It's up in the air. Do they want him? Do they want a 4th Ozeki? Do they want to give him a little push? But let's say Shodai, I just arbitrarily picking Shodai, not damning him. It could be Takayumi as well. One or two. If both falls, he just needs double-digit wins and he's an Ozeki.
Yeah.
If one of them falls, and he gets the 11 or 12 wins, I see them trading places.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different situation when they did it to Taka Keisho, because I'm pretty sure at the time they had 4 Ozeki. Tochinoshin was the only really shaky one. And they made him wait another tournament, and then they swapped Taka Keisho and Tochinoshin.
So I'm feeling that it's going to be... Well, first off, he needs to post a record. He
has to do the work.
He has to do the work, first and foremost. So if he gets anything less than 11 wins...
It's done.
It's done. He has to restart. What happens is, if he gets 12 wins, it's dealer's choice. Now, the thing is that if he gets 13 wins, at that point, then he's just getting another Yusho. Right. At which point, then if he wins the Yusho, it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of math going into Wakataka Kage on this one.
Did I see something about him not liking the heat?
Uh-oh.
I thought I saw...
Maybe.
I thought I saw, like I said, I'm behind, a headline that said Wakataka Kage does not like the heat. So this could be a rough basho for him. July is the one, they call March the stormy basho, but July is the one where certain guys, if they can't handle the heat and the sliding off of each other and the footwork gets messy because of the sweating, they may not perform to their capability.
That would be a sinker for Waka.
But it could also be that he's so much more motivated because he hates it that he does better than ever.
I'll have to keep that in the mind. That this is what's sort of fun about this July basho is that you go in, you think you know what's going to happen,
and you don't.
You got a beat on it, and then it turns on its head.
And I don't know how many July's Hakuho had actually been around for.
That was typically his rest. He usually stayed in the Kokugikan.
Yeah,
he didn't travel. But when he was doing the on and off, him and Kakuryu usually...
Yeah, July would be the one where they were always gone.
Always gone, because that place is...
It's a little rough. It's
little bit
really,
rough.
really hot.
Yeah. And so,
We'll see.
already getting into some interesting speculations.
So next we have Daisho. He is Sekiwake 1 West, up from Komusubi 1 West, 11-4. We were not necessarily expecting this from Daisho.
I am so happy to eat my words on this one, because when Daisho made it back to Sanyaku, I'm just like, oh, good for him. He'll fall out of it, but I was just like, oh, it's good to see him back. And then I was ready to just let him go back down, and then he gets 11 wins. So I think he got a special prize.
He did, yeah.
So I was just like, well, that's egg on my face, but it's like
good.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, I was totally wrong. Shame me. Continue to disprove me. So he had mentioned that like he was doing like the courses on the side, like he was doing some training.
Yep.
And so now take with this whatever you is. This is just things that they say which may not match up. So there was something like I'm 100% focused on Sumo now, and probably his injuries sort of aligned properly. I can't help but feel also taking a scalp off the Yokozuna has got to put a spring in your step. So all these things going well for him. So what's gonna be the story of him this time around is if he gets double-digit wins again, then we'll be talking about, and this is me going crazy again. We're talking about Moro Ozeki. All of a sudden, if he's got 2 double-digit wins on his rec, maybe he's in the contention.
Well, it's funny you say that because these Ozeki runs do feel like they come out of nowhere.
It is.
All of a sudden, there's just another, when Shodai first became available to do it, it's like, wait, Shodai? What?
Yeah, that was a surprise. And then he just sort of 11-4s his way into, you're like, what?
Shodai is not, okay, wow.
What? Okay, yeah.
The other interesting thing is with the interstable training coming back, Takakeisho and Daisho are fighting each other. I like this style of training. These are 2 very similar guys, power-wise. This might be really good strength training for both of them.
This is, again, some of this is, I feel like there's some of these people who are dipping, who are struggling, and then getting this fresh influx.
They need something new.
It'll respark it. Like that was Mio Giryu's deal. Is that when they did the sort of the public area training and he went to that and he felt so invigorated, then he got double-digit wins at tournament.
Exactly.
There is that mental factor and just the being able to like download all that data before you go in. So for Daisho, if he gets a Kachikoshi, it's proof that this is he
belongs
back.
Here.
Well, it's his second win has been procced. He's ready to go. I think even like a 7 and 8 where he is,
he might just drop down to Komusubi.
He'll still be in Sanyaku, and so like even though it's like okay, he's we shouldn't count him out. And then again, get that double-digit wins, and I will not shut up about Ozeki hopes.
That would be super, super cool.
I am. The cart is so in front of the horse right now.
Hey, we need to talk about happy, positive things. Because, the sun is shining, and Sumo's back, and we have hope for everybody. Next, we have one of the newer hopes, Hoshoryu. He maintains his Komusubi 1 East, 8-7. There really wasn't anywhere for him to go unless they, expanded slots. So he probably feels a little like, ugh.
Yeah. It's I feel like he's already just kicking himself for whatever matches he lost to get the 8-7. But I can't. This is endemic of the logjam we'll get into later. But he is at the rank where a winning score is no longer a guarantee of promotion.
Yep.
I can't help but feel that anything like that is just gonna stir Hoshoryu up. It's just like coal in the engine. It's just going to burn hotter.
Yeah, he doesn't run into a motivation issue like Shodai.
No.
It's like you can just look at him wrong and he might go in and take your head off.
So this is sort of how we felt about Hoshoryu already, is that it's not a matter of if but when. So now the 8-7, the 7 and 8's the sort of scraping by. So again, Kachikoshi and Sanyaku is you get that any time of the week, it's impressive. So for Hoshoryu now, the question is, where's your next step? It's in there. There is no we see him as Ozeki in the next 5 years as foregone conclusion. It's just, is it going to be in the next 5 bashos? Is it going to be in the next, in the next not in the next 5 weeks, it's mathematically, but you get it. It's like, where's the ramp? He needs the ramp. And sort of as we were mentioning, like looking for the next rising star, looking for the new blood to surge upwards. There's almost, I guess, an impatience is the word I'd use.
Absolutely. Because, typically in the times past, if you had these really rising stars and everything was like healthy, so to speak, they would be doing it right away. It's not that they wouldn't have some bumps along the way, but it would be like by now Hoshoryu would be really making his presence felt. And it hasn't happened yet. Everything's just kind of... everything's slower than it was when there was
a little bit.
Yeah.
The standout moment for me for Hoshoryu from the last tournament, and again, this is where for me, like, he's going to get there. He's going to get to the top, maybe all the way to the top. I have that optimism now. Getting the Yokozunas, that's never anybody's guarantee,
right?
Not even somebody as young and as hyped up as Hoshoryu. But when he fought Terunofuji, he went chest to chest. He went after that belt. It was suicide. But he did it because he believed he could do it.
Right, and you have to have those kind of guts.
That kind of, I am going to outdo the best guy in sumo at his own game, that mindset, that like almost delusional fearlessness.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you need.
You either take that delusional fearlessness into Yokozuna or you crash out in your career.
He could crash out too.
No, but the point is you have to be that crazy.
You do. Like, if that is a guy who is wearing out the bottom of his car rug from just pushing the gas pedal all the way down.
Exactly. And so he's got the method down, where some guys just, they're too lax. They don't get it.
Yeah.
But that's what comes from being in a sumo family too.
There's that too.
I mean, it's both. You have to want it, but also he's probably seen sides of, good old Uncle Asa Shoryu that other people have never seen. He might have heard some stories. He gets it. Now it's just a matter of, can he do something with it? And we think he will.
Would it be in July? We're not sure, but it's like every time he goes out there, I lean a little further forward in the chair. It's like, is today the day?
Yep.
Is this the tournament?
Laser focus. So we will see. Next we have Abi. He dropped out of Sekiwake, but he stayed in Sanyaku. Komusubi 1 West, 7 and 8. He was spared a drop. There was a time where we were talking about an Ozeki run because he just came out of his reemergence from punishment. So hot, so good.
Burning hot. We were almost like wanting to yell warnings of people to get out of his way. He's coming. He's gonna run you over. And duck and cover. No.
And then it's how this thing that we're in, this rut in sumo that we're in, all momentum gets cut off. Now he's questioning himself. Now there's challenges. Maybe people have figured him out. Maybe he's not doing enough. And now it's like, cut off again by somebody we thought could rise and rise and rise very quickly.
Yeah, it's a very sumo thing how quickly fortune changes on you, because he was sort of okay in March, and we're like, okay, this is his first time back in Sanyaku in a while. Let's let him get his feet planted and then go, and he'll figure it out. And then we hit this in May, the 7 and 8, this Plan B pulling Abi coming out of the woodwork.
The old school problems.
We're like, oh man, he's regressing. It almost like, but it's like, he's not regressing because he was on a rocket ship. But for me, this tells me that there's a new problem that Abi hits now that he's back to where he was, and so Abi needs to figure that out. So if he starts showing that sign of figuring it out, then we can go right back to where we were when he was on the rocket ship. We're like, yes, Abi, Ozeki, when, but it's now we have this gumming up the works he's got to work on.
And part of it is he's just talented enough where he shouldn't be any lower than Sanyaku. But is he talented enough to ascend? And that's what we keep running into with all these guys. Good, but not good enough. And, as usual, we have this optimism that Abi will figure it out and he will go where he needs to go. But right now, it's sort of like Mitake Yumi. You could kind of see it going either way.
A little bit. Abi's a bit of a question mark in where it's, I guess the fascinating part for Mitake Yumi for me is that I don't know what's going on. It's that same uncertainty is now a little bit concerning for me because I feel like we were all invested in this story.
And
yeah.
It didn't work out again.
This isn't how storybooks work.
Why are all of our books so crappy? I'm going to throw them out.
Cinderella gets the glass slipper on and everything's happy. Why isn't this happening now?
I know.
Anger.
I give up. I throw my hands in the air. Fumble my papers. Yeah, we're going to see. I have to ask each one, like, how do you feel about the Heat?
Yeah.
Because this tournament might not be your tournament. I think Abi will be okay.
Long-term okay.
Long-term okay, but he might be skating for a while. That's my theory on him. So next we have Kiribayama. He moves up to Maegashira 1 East from Maegashira 2 East. 10-5. And this is where you spoke of the log jam.
Yeah. So I was almost going to bet. I'm glad I didn't bet. I might have actually bet. I don't remember the exact of what I said during the wrap up, but I felt that there was a precedent for an extra Sanyaku slot to get squeezed in, because if you look at these, like these 8 wrestlers, Kiribayama all the way to Takayasu, all 8 of these guys have a claim staked on Sanyaku, and some of them. I felt like you got to put somebody up there. They didn't put anybody up there.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys figure it out.
That's pretty much what they did.
So, and I think when we were talking in May in the beginning, we had the whole like A group and B group.
Yes.
And that was the Sanyaku, and then what I was calling the second Sanyaku, which was the 1-2. Now that didn't end up working out because Ichinojo was on COVID, and then everybody was not doing too great. But like that principle remained. But now instead of it being 4 top and 4 bottom, like it's 4 top and 8 bottom. Like this group.
Something's got to give.
So this is sort of, I mean, for Kiribayama, I feel like this is doubly rough because he got double-digit wins at 2 East and then didn't get in. Mm-hmm. So if anybody's going to feel the sting, it's going to be him and maybe Takanosho. But for sort of my prevailing thought is, like, all 8 of those guys are just gonna be kicking each other in the teeth.
Yeah, it's gonna get real rough.
It's gonna be clawing. It's gonna be like you just take 8 hungry alley cats and you throw them all in a dumpster, and then it's just gonna be fur and blood and claws everywhere. So that's what this is gonna be.
Yeah,
and
they have no choice.
That is their life in July. And then you look up to Sanyaku, particularly at troubled little Abi over there. And you're like, well, do you want to get thrown in the cat dumpster? No? You better get your stuff together.
Look at what's going on. He's sitting up on the roof. Look at what's going on down below.
Yeah, he's on the roof. He's looking at the melee. So this is probably one of the meat grindiest, log jammiest thing we've seen in some time. And so if nothing else, we're going to get some conclusions.
Yes, July might be the conclusion, a little bit spectacular.
Yeah, there's going to be some people who are like, yeah, this is me. There's going to be some people who are just going to limp their way back home.
Yeah, and there might be some career changes and, injuries and such.
No injuries will be permanent. None of that. None of that at all. So anyway, that's my logjam monologue.
Yeah, I mean, Kiribayama's been kind of up and down in terms of, like, we see marks of brilliance and then he falls out again. So he's got the tools, and we're going to see with this added pressure if he's going to fight his way through.
I feel like for Kiribayama at his current level that that I feel if he gets another 10-5, I think that's possible for him.
Yes.
I don't think he'll be in Yusho contention now. I'd love for me to be wrong. If he gets the cup,
Yeah, I agree with you that he's not ready for Yusho contention, but he could maintain double digits.
He could maintain double digits. Like for him, for Kiribati, I think even if he gets an 8-7, they're gonna have to make something for him.
Yeah.
You can't.
They just keep ignoring him.
You can't get an 8-7. Like even like I'd say the minimum he gets a 9-6. Either he's in Sanyaku or they have to make another box for him.
Right.
And so, like in a way, this is the put your money where your mouth is moment for Kirabayama. Is that they basically told him your 10-5 ain't good enough for me, and so if he gives him another 10-5, they'll be like, I think it is.
Yeah, he'll have to force his way in.
There is we've got the cat dumpster, and then we have people with crowbars.
Yeah,
this is what's going on here. They're gonna pry that open, and maybe can openers if you want to keep it the cat analogies.
Yeah, I like the can opener one.
We have can openers, and yeah, we got it.
We got ladders. Is that how they're climbing up the building?
Maybe.
Because you can't climb bricks if you're a cat.
No.
We'll have to think this one through.
I am off this. There's no plan in here today.
No. This is the wild podcast as well. So next we have Takanosho up from Maegashira 4 West 11-4. Thank goodness, because
sigh of relief.
He was starting to look like crap. I don't want to put it so rudely, but he wasn't looking like himself, and I had no idea why, because it's not like he looked injured. It's not like he did the Shodai Eeyore. It just looked like nothing was working. And when that happens, you sometimes can't get out of that.
It's a tailspin sometimes.
So I'm really glad that he did 11-4. Only him and his team know what was going on behind the scenes, and he seems to have figured it out for now. What do you expect for July?
It feels like the 11-4. Now, Megashira 4, you're still fighting the top people. It's not like you got to buy.
Right.
For Takanosho, like it seems that the way he was fighting was the way of old. Whatever he exercised his demons is the way I took it away. So now for him, it's in the same way that Kirabayama has to prove that I know I belong there. You put a number 2 behind that Kamasubi. Like for Takanosho, like it'd be a return for him, but it's a lot more of a show the consistency. It's like you did that good, do it again, and then we know you're fine.
Then we'll have a conversation.
Then we'll have the conversation. But something else is that and we've talked about this in the past, so I'll just summarize the stable brotherhood. So Takakeisho's not doing well. Some of that may rub off on Takanosho. And then inversely, Takanosho starts doing well. Maybe Takakeisho starts doing well.
Yes.
Takakeisho did get his 8-7. There's that support network going on.
It's true. I mean, sumo looks like an individual sport, but like all things in Japan, it's also group oriented. That is behind the scenes, like everything in their society. So I mean, it's a good point. There could be some tensions or stress or whatever, lack of training together because of whatever's going on, and it impacts both wrestlers. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on both of them and see if they move together, or if there's just complete disconnect. But it seems hard to believe there'd be a complete disconnect since they have been each other's main training partners for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ever since COVID, and you couldn't train with anybody else. So there's probably some sort of link that we'll never know about. So next we have Kota Nawaka. He has just a slight move up from Maegashira 2 West to Maegashira 2 East, 9-6. He had
a lot of mono-E's go his way. And
yes, it's been tight.
So now again, when you're this high up, luck only gets you so far. That being said, I feel like luck got him a little bit of stuff. And again, I don't want to take anything away from Kota Nawaka because I'm pretty sure I'm on record being like, this guy's going to start kicking some butts.
Right.
So I feel like this is his, similar to Takanosho, was it a fluke? We need that proof.
That's exactly what I was going to say is we know he's a talented guy, but the dominance has not shown up to make you think that if things went the other way, he could still have the same record. Like, if he lost a couple close ones, instead of them calling them for him, would he be doing as well as he's doing? Or did luck really push that rank up?
This is as much a Sumo as anything else. Sometimes you get those calls, sometimes you don't. That's the difference between a 7-8 and an 8-7. Hard to get caught up about that.
Right. So it's not saying he doesn't belong there. It's just saying, can he maintain this?
Maintaining it is
there
the
something?
key.
Yeah. Is there something in him that allows him to maintain it? Or, is he on a nice little string here, and then you're going to see a different version of him that can't stay that high up. So we'll find out with him. I'm a little hesitant to think that he's ready, but.
Well, this is another thing is, if you're not ready to be right smack dab in the middle of this logjam,
you're done.
You will be escorted out.
Yes, and that's the reason I'm hesitant, because I don't necessarily think of him based on last tournament. Not the tournament before. Based on last tournament, it doesn't seem like he's ready to fight in the back alley.
It's his moment to prove it all. Is 2 East good for you? Right.
He's gonna keep fighting. It's not just about fighting the tough guys 1 or 2 times. It's about continuing to fight the top guys.
Gotta stay in there.
Exactly. So it's a maintenance thing. We will see. Ichinojo, unfortunately, so they actually
bumped him down. They bumped him down a rank.
Interesting.
So with the tumultuous sort of overcrowded nature of the Sanyaku first 4, I feel like him holding on to the 1 West slot.
Yeah, it's where he was.
It's where he was. I feel like it's a good compromise. Okay, Ichinoju, you don't get dumpstered down like you weren't there, but
we can't leave you here.
Can't leave you there. We're gonna knock you down 1 slot, and then pushing you down is sort of the consolation prize for Kirabayama and Takanosho. And the difference between 1 and 2 in the larger scheme of the Banzuke,
it's not a big deal.
Not that big of a deal. If he does well enough where he is, he can still get into Sanyaku, and he's still going to be fighting basically all the same people. So it's it's not a big thing. I feel like it's sort of everything balances out. Yeah,
it is tricky when you're doing one of these Banzukes, I'm sure, to be completely fair or completely consistent. That's why they leave it open-ended, because they have to look at each circumstance, every single tournament, and COVID has really thrown that out for a loop. Like, never before had they had a thing that automatically gets you out of the tournament. So I think it's fair, and I think Ichinojo will be fine as long as he's recovered from everything.
Yep.
He'll fight the same way he would have if he stayed where he was at.
Yeah, I mean this becomes sort of the question mark that whenever somebody has COVID and they have to get dumped for a tournament, is it gonna be a rest up, ready up, or is it going to be a lose the momentum and slow down?
Right.
And that'll be the question if Ichinojo comes out swinging,
or if he's just kind of like, I don't know, I've been out of this for a while.
Well, the first 5 days will be telling if he's. If he's like a good 2 and 3, 1 and 4, maybe the rest is still on there. But if he's 4-0, okay, he's ready.
Yeah, it'll be fun. The biggest man in sumo. It's always fun when he's in the tournament. Next, we have Tamawashi. He has a slight bump from Maegashira 3 West to Maegashira 3 East, 9 and 6. He is the thorn in the Yokozuna's side.
It's so hilarious.
The immortal one.
It's like ever since we started being like the immortal golem, the fountain of youth talk, like every time the tournament comes around, I'm like, I wonder if I'm gonna start regretting that. And then he just nope.
Yeah, nope. I don't think even if tomorrow he retired because he was too tired, that you would ever take that away from him. No. He did these things. Whether he can keep beating Yokozunas at his age and looking like he's exactly the way he looked when he was 20, that has already happened, even if that like changes tomorrow. So
and sort of the mind games he's gonna be putting on.
They're gonna Terunofuji's gonna be like, him again.
Him like Tamawashi, Daieisho. Both of them are just like, I get some free Kimboshis.
Well, part of it is, I don't think Terunofuji necessarily fears any man, but what he does fear is getting injured again. Yeah. So he always has to decide, is it worth it?
Am I going to risk it all for this one?
Right, to beat this guy. Or am I going to, unless it's at the end of the tournament. I might risk it all to win the tournament, but am I going to risk it all on day 3? So, yeah, it's Tamawashi, you got to give it to him. I picture his retirement ceremony, the things that he'll be able to say about his career. He may not have ever been Yokozuna, but boy, he made Yokozuna sweat.
He does.
And I'm very curious to see how he does this tournament, because a lot of guys around his age are having to retire, and here he is.
Falling apart. He's as strong as ever.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that he was at the end of his career. So good luck, Tamawashi. It's good that you keep the Yokozuna on his toes. Next we have Ura. So he's had another nice jump from Maegashira 6 East to Maegashira 3 West. Wasn't sure what's going to be his future when he had that big dropout after ascending up.
Yeah, it was like a 4-11 in March.
The crazy thing is he gets injured and comes back and wins. That doesn't happen very often.
Well, he was 9 and I think he was like 9-4, and then at the very end he has the ankle issue.
Okay,
so,
but didn't he have an issue that he was fighting with? I don't remember now.
Maybe not in May.
That was the last tournament.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
Yeah. He was. It was like day 13. He goes out. He turns his ankle or something.
And then he has to sit out.
And then he sits out the last 2, it's sort of unfortunate, but he got the 9 wins. He was sitting on 9 wins at day 13. He was sort of in Yusho contention. He was in those talks. So
I know that was really, really that was heartbreaking to see him not there at the end. Now, would he have been able to really hang in there? Probably not. But it was fun to think he might. Because in sumo, anything can happen.
Yeah, it would have made a difference. I feel like the way that things panned out were perfectly fine. But anyway, so the 2 nice things is, 1, the nice bump up. 2, he's not at Megashira 1, which is what got him in a little bit of the trouble.
He's not quite ready for that.
So 3 is a nice test for him.
Yeah, it's still going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but I feel like if he keeps the momentum, keeps improving, then maybe we'll get an 8 and 7 out of him here.
He just turned the big 3-0.
Ooh.
So that's when you start approaching your career very differently, at least mentally. For some people, physically, it all goes downhill, but most guys, it's a mental thing. So happy birthday to Ura, and I think he's going to benefit from the heat, actually, because Ura just has this temperament that doesn't seem to be bothered by anything, and he can do even more crazy moves if the guys are already kind of off balance. So I think it might benefit him. I'm making a prediction.
He'll be unaffected by the heat.
That Ura will be unaffected by the heat, and we will see some very interesting sumo from him. So next we have Wakamoto Haru, the famous older brother of Wakataka Kage. He had a nice little jump up from Maegashira 6 West to Maegashira 4 East, 9 and 6. He's in the meat grinder now.
Yup, he's in the dumpster with all the other alley cats, and he's gotten 9s and 6s like ever since he's come in here.
Right, he's sort of steady.
And so, like, beforehand he was at 6 West. We're like, okay, this is about as high as you can get before it's really, really bad for you. Are you sure you're gonna want this? And he 9s and 6 again. We're like, okay,
he wants it.
Welcome to the meat grinder, I guess. And this is if he gets another 9 and 6 here, I'm not gonna
be surprised.
It's like I will simultaneously be baffled and at the same time, well, he sort of has been doing this the whole time anyway, and has been absorbing all this knowledge as he's been going up, like pivoting and changing and evolving in front of us.
Well, he's got to be extra motivated by his brother being up there because
Gotta be.
how cool is that? You and your brother get to compete in the top level. It's got to be the thing that makes him fight just at a second more when he thinks he's lost a match, or, hold up that pinky toe when you think you're going to fall out.
And this is sort of what we were mentioning with Wakataka Kage is now Wakamoto Haru's motivation is, now he's going to be fighting the other Ozeki, the other Sanyaku, the people who are going to be after Wakataka Kage, or more importantly, in Yusho contention with him.
Right.
Because I had mentioned if Wakataka Kage gets Yusho, Ozeki, end of story. And so if Wakamoto Haru can beat the guy who is going to win and give Wakataka Kage that chance,
right?
That's how Terunofuji got one of his Yushos on the way up.
Exactly. That was the whole Terutsuyoshi helping him out.
And so...
Yeah, you got to think, like, at this point when they're not in direct competition with each other, because they're not going to fight each other, so they can each try to do good and hopefully not face each other to the end, you can work together. And it's a very cool thing that only brothers or stablemates can do. And
so that's I feel like that is going to be a motivating factor for him. Now, again, if you're not ready for the meat grinder, there is no force on this earth that's going to save you.
Right. He, once again, has to do the work. But he has this nice little shiny object to...
He's got to focus.
Yep, exactly. So, next we have Takayasu. 6 and 9. We were going to talk about the slow fade, but now he's benched by COVID.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter, I guess?
It's... Now, at time of writing, it was mentioned that he's going to be out because his whole stable is out.
Sort of, you travel together or you don't.
Yeah, and there's all manner of weirdness in politics, and Japan's doing it again thing. Irregardless of all this, Takayasu looks like he will not be competing, and this is relatively recent news, last few days. So I had written up a whole conversation about how Takayasu sort of needs to, regroup, get moving upwards. But now we have this whole COVID thing, so...
Which is sort of a regroup, because if he's not even sick, then he can spend the tournament training.
Yeah, it's sort of on one hand, he gets a free buy to sort of get better. He's not, I feel like, at this stage of his career...
That's not a good thing?
It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel like if he's game to fight, if he's ready to fight...
He needs to fight.
He needs to fight. He needs to get out there. He needs to, he needs to put dirt on people. So I don't feel that good about this. That being said, somebody with back issues...
Could always use a rest.
You can always use a day on the couch if your back hurts.
Right.
So...
It's up in the air.
But... I mean, the biggest hurt is that he's just not going to be there.
Yeah, and he always adds something to the tournament that's, he's that variable. Like, well, if I have to fight Takayasu, it might mess with my chances to be in the Yusho contention.
Yeah. And he's as hungry as he's ever been.
Right. He wants to prove that the multiple slow walks are not going to be how he ends his career.
He looks like he will fight to defy that fate.
Yes. So hopefully there's no more COVID in his stable, and he'll live to fight in September and be better off for it.
Yeah. Also, hopefully he'll maintain rank. He won't get the bump down like Ichinojo does because he's at that 4.
Right.
I feel
it's not like it's like, oh, he has to be bumped down so somebody else can be 4 versus 1, where it's like that's a coveted spot.
I'm getting way ahead of myself now. Takayasu definitely have a milkshake and just lazy day sometime.
Study your opponents.
Study them, watch it, enjoy sumo more passively.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of somebody with, losing their time here, like if it doesn't get moving, it's over. That would be Endo. So he's down only 1 rank to Maegashira 5e, 7 and 8. He's too good. He's too good to be in this situation without some other factor, like nagging injury or mental situation. Like, what do you think his deal is?
I I feel like injury is probably the most of it. I think like he's definitely had larger knee, ankle injuries, and he's probably one of those guys that will like you think everything looks fine, and then like the next day he shows up and he's got one of those half sleeves on. I think he's just dealing with that right now. Mm-hmm. I'm sort of closing the book for now on him making another run for it. I think there's another run in him.
But not now.
Not now. I think we can enjoy Endo outsmarting people. I think he'll be stealing wins from people who are caught unawares. I like particularly people in the meat grinder. They'll get those crucial, Kirabayama sleeps on him one day and then he just eats dirt for his trouble.
I could see that.
That's the kind of stuff that Endo's going to be bringing to July, I feel. It's that constant threat. It's the technique, and it's if you think you had a day off because you're fighting Endo, you're going to lose.
He's like that, those cleaner fish in the aquarium that clean up all the algae on the tank. He has to go in and do the job of showing who's really ready for the next level and who's just got to go away.
For now, he's turning into a bit of a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
He's the bouncer outside the cool club.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that with finality. I don't want to be like, this is Endo's lot in life. And I feel like if he gets another spark, I feel like he can make a break at Sanyaku. I feel like if something happens, maybe all of the injuries heal at the same time. Maybe he gets some sort of a motivating factor. Something can push him. But until we see the push, like this is Endo.
Right. It's going to be something that comes out of nowhere.
It is, yeah.
Just one tournament, it's like, this is his tournament. And maybe, it seems like it would be crazy if Endo never won a U-show in his career.
Something like that, it's in the future. The thing is, though, where in the future? Same like Hoshiryu. He'll get to Ozeki, but when? When? Now, for Endo, it's a lot more of a shorter clock, so he can't sit on this forever, but it's like there's gonna be one or two more stories out of Endo yet.
Yes, we've seen it happen with Tamawashi. We've seen it happen with Tokushoryu. He might be 36 or 37, and he has that tournament.
It's exactly what Endo has coming for. It's sort of like the magic trick that like you pick a card, like here's the King of Spades, and then the magician's just like, I'm gonna put this back in the deck, and then he shuffles the cards and he starts dealing. You're just like, when's it gonna show up?
Yep.
That's Endo.
That's precisely it.
That's Endo.
So we will see how July goes, and hopefully we'll see him at least making a return at some point. Next, we have Sadano Umi, Maegashira 5 West, up from Maegashira 12 West. So this is one of the bigger promotion bumps.
He was the dark horse story that we were all
really hoping for.
I'm fine with the way it ended. Now he won on the last day. He did everything. There was that moment of just brilliance. They threw him to the wolves and he beats up the wolves. It was so good. So this steep jump, or let's let him have it.
Yeah, let's celebrate for the guy who has been in this for so long.
Made the run of runs. No one would have guessed that.
But, I think they gave him the jump because his time is short.
Yeah. So,
give him a chance. You've earned this chance to fight the tougher guys. You're probably going to lose. But, hey, let's see where you can take it.
For somebody who gets a special prize, who just surprises everybody, who was real close to just taking it all.
Yeah.
I feel like you throw him, you put him into the mix. You go ahead, he gets it. I don't expect lightning to strike twice.
I don't either, but you never know.
One slip on the dohyo.
That slippery
dohyo. It's a humid time out there. I'm not counting it out. I am simply saying that Sadano Umi, I just hope now's your chance to have fun.
Exactly. This is all about fun.
This is all about fun. This is for him. I say victory lap like he won the U show.
I know, right?
It feels like he did in a way.
It kind of does feel like he won.
Because we're talking, it was almost. I almost wanted to backpedal because I was just like, oh yeah, Yokozuna wins the Yusho, no big deal.
But that wasn't really the story.
It was. I was like, well, it kind of was a big deal actually. It was almost not him. Most of his I think all of his losses, Terunofuji's losses, like a lot of them were like earlier on.
Exactly. Like guys he wasn't going to fight again.
Yeah, he's like, is he going to pull out? Is this it? Is he over? And then he goes out and he wins the Yusho. We're just like, oh, never mind.
Well, it's kind of funny because if you were to just look at things on paper, you would never know what was really going on.
Yeah, like you'd see the 12-3, you're just like, oh, I guess somebody took a few wins off him. And you wouldn't think any more about it. But then like the Sadanoumi nearly running away with it. Wild.
Stories like his are what makes sumo fun.
It's so fun.
So next we have your guy, your man. He's not going to let up. Aoyama. Another big jump from Maegashira 11 East to Maegashira 6 East. I didn't think he had a 10-5 left in him. I was about to write him off. Down to Jurio.
There was one day he was at the top. He was like 6-0.
Yep.
I wanted to like take a picture of that and be like, guys, look at him, sole contender for the Yusho. It's day 6. I don't care.
I'm counting it.
I'll break my own rules about day 8. It's fine. So, trending wise, Aoyama does seem to have this like once a year spark.
True.
Normally it's in March, so it's a little late because it was in May. So, it like everything aligns for him like once, maybe twice a year. And so I'm expecting like the spark and fade now. So he'll
hang around.
He'll make do. So he the aggression and some of like the imposing of will did seem a little different than normal.
How so?
Did I write it down? Maybe I didn't. But there were a couple of times he did do that arm lock throw that he almost ripped Chiyoshoma's arm right out of its socket.
Yeah, it's a great technique, although it's brutal.
He also did do a throw while running backwards, which
that's not something you expect to see a guy that big do.
Not out of Aoyama.
No.
Now, I feel like a lot of this is just me getting ahead of myself as a big Aoyama fan, and that this isn't actually something new pulling out, but just more of the deep veteran bag of tricks. And
years of sumo.
I feel like it was more of he had a little bit more spring in his step in May, and was able to pull this stuff out. That being said,
happy dance.
I'm doing a dance.
You guys can't see the happy dance.
You can't see the happy dance. I'm like, again, like on like the rational side of me is saying it's spark and fade. He'll do a 6-9. It'll be fine, and then he'll 6-9 his way somewhere in the next year, and then he'll have another spark, and I'll go nuts again.
But the fan in you.
The fan in me is just like, hang on, guys. There was a little something special in May this time. No, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. It's just so that all the thoughts stay in the brain. It's not things going out anyway. So we'll see what happens with him, I guess.
Hey, as long as he makes you happy, John.
Oh goodness,
that makes the tournament even better.
Yeah, I was afraid that when he hit Japanese citizenship that he put his foot off the gas.
Yeah, I thought that was like the natural step.
So I heard that he got the citizenship, and he's just like, oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna start training. And then there was the group training, and like you could see him like interacting with people. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm really happy for him, but it sucks as a fan.
Right, because now it's over.
But then he got a 10-5. I'm like, yes.
Well, Aoyama is a very different man, as they all are, but there's just something about him where I don't think he ever takes his foot off the gas. He's just getting older. That's the only difference.
It's just age and injuries.
Speaking of which, this is kind of a funny story. So Tobizaru, he is down because he had a 7-8, so he's down to Maegashira 6 West. He's finally getting on the Banzuke in the spots he should. But I was out, on vacation telling people about sumo, and I was showing somebody some sumo videos, and I'm like, who would be the best guy to show off? And I picked Tobizaru. And I found this highlight reel of Tobizaru's best matches. And that kid was like, whoa! Because every single one, Tobizaru's flying. And he's like, I didn't know this is what sumo was like. So if you're trying to get a friend into sumo, show them Tobizaru. He's highly entertaining. and not what people expect. I think I might actually get this kid to watch sumo in the next tournament.
That's smart, Toby. I mean, that is the sort of the X factor on Tobizaru. That win or lose, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, like you almost don't care what the result was.
Kind of. So I feel like 6 West is like a really good rank for Tobizaru.
He's a middle of the pack kind of guy.
Well, he's just far out of the meat grinder. He's just underneath it. So high up enough that he's still fighting a lot of those top guys and can possibly make enough. Because he was making eyes. He was on that week 2 contention board. He fell off of it, but
he was trying to stay in it.
It was a little bit more than you'd expect. And so it's at 6, he's in that mix a little bit more, but again, he's low down enough so that he can.
He's not going to face every top guy.
He's not. I don't think they're going to throw him to Terunofuji unless he's in the Yusho race.
Right,
so
or they want to get some ticket sales or something.
Yeah. So that'll be a comfortable place to get 8-7, 7-8, 9-6 maybe, or do another 10-5 and just
get himself put in a position that he can't handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no matter what he does, he's performing better than we had expected when we talked about him a couple tournaments ago, where we're like, is he just an intruder? We put that to rest. Tobizaru certainly doesn't think he's an intruder in the top division.
Nah.
And I just look forward to him doing his crazy stuff.
It'll be win, lose, or draw. Tobizaru is in a prime position for entertainment.
Absolutely. So next we have Okinomi. So we were concerned about him. He had this nice jump up from Maegashira 10 East to Maegashira 7 East. For a while, he was just declining, and then he's going to throw this 9-6 at us. Who knows what keeps these veterans going sometimes?
I do feel like even with the 9-6, like there was a bit of an edge still missing from Okinomi. Now the 9-6, I'm greatly pleased to see that, and also like he did have a couple of dominant like muscle sumo wins that you want to see from the people who are fading because it shows that they still got the spark. I feel like if Okinomi is going to make a push upwards, like if he's going to sort of go further higher, then a little bit of a sharper sumo may be what he needs. I don't know if that's possible, but I do know he had some injury issues. Maybe some other things were going on, as is always the case. Now, I don't remember how he fares with the slippery July dojo.
He's probably... My guess is he's probably fine because he's just been doing this so long.
I feel like he's used to it if nothing else. So...
Like, how many Julys has Wakataka Kage done? He hasn't been in the top division that long. Mm-hmm. Whereas Okinomi is like, oh, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Doing this again? All right.
I'll do some extra, wipe downs before I go out. Here's a trick I learned on how to stay non-slippery.
Yeah.
So it's probably status quo for him.
Probably status quo.
Okay, next we have somebody we should probably fear for. Hokuto Fuji. He's down from Maegashira 3 East to Maegashira 7 West. 5-10. Here's a guy who was consistently in Maegashira 1 through 4 for years and years and years, and now we're seeing something we had never seen from him. Just decline.
It's the loss of power. It's a similar situation to what Takakeisho's going through, is that he has a big injury, and he comes back, and he's not at full strength.
And you can't just will yourself back into health.
You can't. So the big thing is, first off, the last time we had a big log jam like this, unfortunately, Hokuto Fuji was caught in it. Mm-hmm. And that's why he was always in the 1-4, because he was getting these 8-7s, these 9-6, or these 7s and 8s at 1 East. He just couldn't break the ceiling because there was just too many good people. So now he's on the other end of it. That, like we were mentioning with... Kota no Waka, excuse me, we were talking about how if you're not ready for it, you will be escorted out.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Hokuto Fuji. He was just not ready for that level because of the lack of power. And, his heart's always in it.
Yeah.
He is trying his damnedest. He still has the size and the way to impose will. It's just he can't he's just not strong enough anymore.
Right. It might have been years of being at the top of the logjam. Like, either you clear the logjam and get yourself into a better position, or you get beat down until you can't stay there anymore.
Yeah. So he needs to, in the same way that Takakeisho needs to, either get the power back or figure out how to fight without it.
He was doing a little bit of belt stuff a couple tournaments again, and he looked really good. Like, when Takakeisho tries, it's like, ha ha.
I know.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, desperate, are we? But
yeah, exactly. Desperate move.
That's the hope for me as a big Hokutofuji fan, is that he's maybe anticipated this, starts doing some belt stuff, starts doing some grappling, maybe maneuvering his way out to become a little bit more well-rounded. You would think on paper, somebody like Hokutofuji, this far down
would be fine,
but I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, and we don't know the extent of his injuries. So, gonna have to put him on the watch list.
Makakoshi here, definitely on the watch list.
Okay, so you're in the caution list.
I'm on the I just don't have it in my heart to put Hokutofuji on that list yet.
I understand it.
I'm not ready for that. But
this is the downside to having favorites, and it's impossible to be neutral because you just you fall in love with certain guys, and it's hard. It's hard to watch him decline.
Is he low enough that whatever power he has is good? Is his plan B work evolved to the point that he can compensate?
Right.
So it's going to be this balancing act now for him. And we're not talking about can you get to Sanyaku? We're talking about, can you get back to where you were when we were having this conversation?
And then can you stay there?
Which sucks a bit. That's the Takayasu issue.
Yes.
We're not talking about Ozeki anymore. We're not even talking about Sanyaku anymore. We're talking about pull yourself out of that tailspin before you crash out into Juryo.
Which is funny because our next guy is the epitome of that conversation. And that would be Tochinoshin, who continues to defy the odds. Like, we thought this story was written. You know, here's Mr. Ozeki, crashes out of Ozeki, is losing a whole year before he got a Kachikoshi. And you thought this is just going to continue to be a slow decline until he's gone. Well, he got another 8-7. He's slowly keeping himself in contention to, like, stay a sumo wrestler.
I have two minds about this. On one mind, it's, nothing that we said before was wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just that he's sort of just able to scrape it together a few times, which ultimately means, like, we'll just see him a little bit longer.
Yeah.
The other part of me, the Tochinoshin fan, again, the delusions, they just freely come out. Noticing that he is sort of changing the script, the way he fights, doing a little bit more, a little bit less, like, pick you up with impossible strength and just lift you out. More grappling, more maneuvering, and
putting his weight on guys.
Doing sort of a more passive pressure than what he's normally used to. Also, there was a couple of times that people were putting the pressure on him and he held firm.
Which surprised me in those matches.
There was a couple of times that, like, he resisted at the edge or prevented somebody from moving backwards. I'm like, wow, he didn't fall over. Like,
right, and he, like, turned the tides on him and pushes them out.
That shows something else going on. Now, maybe he just waited for his pain medication for an hour later. And this is where the two minds comes in.
Right.
At this point, we're just purely speculating. But if nothing else, he is out of those double digits cleanly. So if he gets another 7 and 8, like, he's still at 9.
Exactly. Like, he's working hard enough and made enough changes that he's staying in it. He's not hanging out at 16.
He's not clutching on for dear life. There's a couple of people here who are some clutchers, who are some faders, who don't seem to be able to do anything different.
Right. I mean, Tochi has his strength no matter what. I mean, It will fade eventually, but his strength isn't pushing and thrusting necessarily. It's like just that raw power. He's just bigger than everybody else. And he's taller than everybody else. His arms are stronger than everybody else. I mean, that's a Terunofuji factor. His upper body is so strong. It's like, try to defy him. You have to just knock him off balance. Tochi's got the same thing going. He's not as strong as Terunofuji.
There's a connection there, I agree.
But it's a similar thing where it's like he's still got tools that are way bigger than yours. So if he fights smart, he can hang in. So we certainly hope that he does, and I'm glad we're not saying goodbye to him yet.
Oh, at this point, we've got him for a year.
Yeah, which would be nice. Yeah, no, right?
Yeah,
Anything can happen tomorrow.
Yeah. On paper, anyway.
Yes.
No jinxes here.
So next we have Nishikigi, Maegashira 8 West, up for Maegashira 10 West, 8 and 7. Nice little promotion. That means something. Like maybe they want to either.
There is some. Well, the middle of the pack did have like sort of that vacuum effect that like you open the door and all the air comes rushing in because like a lot of people in the middle went up. And then some other people in the middle went down, and so there were these 8 and 7, 7 and 8 people getting bumped up and down. I still feel though, towards your point, that there is a little bit of a show of faith for Nishikigi. That they could have just bumped him up one. Or like, I'll give him 2. He's been looking good.
Right, like it's either like a reward or it's I want to see what he can do with this.
Yeah, sort of give him a taste of something a little bit more difficult. I feel like he's earned it.
Yeah,
his return has been a pleasant surprise. I'm not gonna. I say low expectations not because I didn't expect him to perform, because I didn't really know what state he was in.
Right.
And so to see him doing these techniques, a little scattershot in the performance consistency maybe, but showing that he's fighting to stay and he's fighting to climb, which you always want to see out of people when they have this return to Jurio, that they're not just content in being in the top division.
Right. And if you fight like you're just content to be in the top division, you will not stay in the top division. You have to fight as if you want the Yusho just to stay in the division.
Just to stay.
So, I mean, him being a veteran and everything, I think he understands that. Like, not just a veteran, but a veteran who, has had success. He wants to have success again, whatever that looks like for someone in his position.
Yeah. Again, no delusions of grandeur for Nishikigi. At least not yet.
No, he's got to do a little bit more first.
A little bit more first. I feel like, again, like there's enough. He's shown enough potential for a little bit higher, but also nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. He's very standard issue, like us mortal dreamers.
Yes, we would be giving him more than is rational.
Yeah. Very sensible wrestler.
I like that.
Sensible
He's
expectations.
a sensible guy, yes.
Yeah, even keel.
We'll see if he blows that out of the water in one direction or the other. So next we have Shimano Umi, Maegashira 9 East, down for Maegashira 80, 7 and 8. He's just kind of hanging out in the center. That's where he's been for a little while now. There was definitely some injury issues. That really slowed his progression.
This is his comfort zone. Like, I went to look it up. So like he at 8 he was 7 and 8, and then he was at 10. Oh, he was at 8 and 7, and he got injured here. When he was at 6, he was a little higher up. Oh, he was 5 and 10. That's bad. He doesn't want to be. But he was at 7, 8 and 7. So like this is the window for him. This is where Shimano Umi lives, at least in the last year or so. And I still remember when he was at Dark Horse. That everyone was like, why are you still winning? And then you just have to basically throw Sanyaku at him to put him in check. But ever since then, and
he's found his little spot.
It's that 7 to 10, like that's his comfort zone. So the fact that he's at the lower half of the comfort zone means 8 and 7, maybe a 9 and 6. Another even keel steady guy. I still like his unique like grit fighting style, which will reverse a fight. And in a way, it's he's one of those like consistent, stable factors, and then it's everything else moving around him that becomes the weird variable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's gonna be like all these new people coming up will be new people, but they're not really new. But like the up and comers from Jurio, like I'm looking forward to when he fights Oho. If Nishiki Fuji makes a run for it, maybe like so he's gonna be this sort of this watermark.
Yeah, he's sort of the maybe you could say gatekeeper, but he's sort of like a benchmark. Like
a benchmark. There's still like potential for a break. I mean, like whenever somebody does it once, you're like, you can do it again.
It's always possible.
It's always possible. It is. It's that mental thing. It's just like I've touched that special prize once. I can You know, if everything.
Tamawashi is kind of the guy who sets that standard for you. Like Tamawashi was before he won that title, he was just kind of doing his thing in the middle, and it's like, oh, he's older, so he's not gonna win this U show, and then he goes ahead and wins the U show. So I think it gives hope for any of these guys that you're never really out of it unless you got a broken leg and a broken arm, and you can't compete at all.
Yeah, then you're
toast.
Then you're toast.
So next we have Koto Echo. Boy, he's down from Maegashira 7 West to Maegashira 9 West. He was really, really, really good in March. The 6 and 9 was sort of a downer, but he's still looking better than he did before.
Able to execute on his brand of sumo. It's the cliche, but like for him.
It's a cliche, but it means something.
For Koto Echo, like that was like, it felt like for me, it was a lot of the heart of his problem is that that internal consistency, the ability to impose his will was gone. And so not only was a few of his wins that imposition, but like in some of his losses, they were really good matches.
And it was like he could have won that one.
So I think we said this the last time he did a really high up, but I'll say it again anyway, is that like when he gets these kinds of like goes up really high and then loses a bunch, like however much he can learn and absorb from this. That's
what's important for him in particular. Because his issues are, at least to us, are somewhat unknown. Like, why does he lose some of the matches he loses? Is it, like, I don't want to say inexperience. He's been around for a while, but it does seem like he has things to learn that would help him.
Yeah, the sort of the exposure to the pressure at the top.
Right.
You know, like he's got all of the Kotos. So Koto Shoho, Koto Echo, Koto no Waka, definitely all the way up.
Is Koto Echo in their stable?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
All three of those Koto people are stablemates. Sado Kake, whatever you say it. Sado Gatake. I'm just butchering it. I'm gonna stop.
That's pretty good.
So he has comparable sparring partners.
Yeah.
You know? And then but then it's like being there for the 15 days, fighting the other guys.
It's very different.
I feel like again, a lot of this is just us grasping at straws almost, but it feels like that's sort of the difference, at least for Koto Echo. But 9 is he's at a good pole position. I feel like 9 is still like for him would be a struggle to keep it, but at the same time it's his chance to prove he's building.
Right, prove that he can do more than 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. Can you pull up really quick his record for last July?
That's good.
I'm very curious to see.
July. Ooh! Oh, but he was 4. It was this time last year that we were like, we knew
something was going wrong.
Yeah. Well, we knew that. Oh man, I remember this. That he got the 9 and 6, and they bumped him all the way up, and we're like,
and that didn't work out.
This didn't work out for him at all. But like here, we were saying, try to learn, and then he has some issues, some struggles, and now it looks like he's on the way back up. But yeah, hard to tell at Megashira 4 whether that 2 and 13 was the dohyo.
Yeah, like that's a little bit more than the dohyo.
You're out of your breath here, unfortunately.
Yeesh. Okay, well, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I feel even more nervous for you when I see that. Next, we have Chiyo Tairyu, 8 and 7, up from Maegashira 13 East to Maegashira 10 East. We had sort of written him off. Figured he was just headed to Juryo with Chiyomaru, and he gritted his way to that 8 and 7.
Yeah, that 3 rank jump on an 8 and 7, particularly for Chiyo Tairyu,
is curious.
That I feel like that's the let's keep him in here a little while longer kind of a thing.
Yeah, like here's sort of a reward.
Here's a reward. So for me, I feel like he's sort of he's the guy just trying to scrape by at the top compared to Tochinoshin, who's trying to
make something happen.
Because Chiyo Tairyu, like not to take anything against him, part of it is you can only do so much. with whatever your body lets you do.
Right.
And he was trying. Like, he lost his weight. He did try to change the technique, and then that didn't work, so he had to put the art back on. Maybe he's just in a position where he's just like, this is all I can do. This is my best shot.
Right, because, the power Tachi is his thing, and he's getting older and older and older, and it's going to lose its power.
Win, lose, or draw, I guess. Chiyotairyu has a little bit more leash in the top division.
Yeah, he's not going to go anywhere tomorrow.
Yeah, so, we're not quite at the point that we're going to start talking about the over-under, which is good news for him, so he's not going to fall into Juryo.
So he can wrestle a little bit more relaxed in the sense that he's not desperate.
Help. Yeah, I feel the long term for him, he needs like a Tochinoshin style revamp, something to put a little extra on the legs. Outside of that, it's just as long as he can scrape it by. And I heard your point. He scraped by enough to get a Kachikoshi, so... And
that's just what it is when you're latter stages of your career.
Sometimes that's it.
Yeah. So next we have Meisei, and we were wrong about Meisei in terms of we thought he was probably going to do better than this. It's a little surprising that he only got an 8 and 7. So I did hear there was an injury, but I didn't hear what it was, and I feel like it's got to be an injury.
The only way the math seems to work out is if he was still dealing with the injury, or maybe didn't have time to build himself up, or just sort of dealing with
like some aftermath thing.
Dealing with the whole out of his vibe kind of a deal. But really, like, regardless, you would think that for somebody in Sanyaku, like, even at 50% power, you should be able to deal with this.
Well, that's what's like, what's going on?
That's the weird, where is the guy who was in Sekiwake if he's not here? So
right
now it's sort of, I almost sort of want to like take all of our notes from before and just like say them again. Here's a guy who is way lower on the Banzuke than he should be. He should get double-digit wins.
He should get special prizes.
He should get a special prize. He should make a move for it. I feel like it's more or less the same thing. If this was injury, now he's got another 2 months.
Right. Maybe he's healed now, and now what we predicted last time is going to be the case. Yeah.
So it's optimistically, this is just like a delayed reaction response, and that it just took him it took him a little longer than we would have imagined.
Right, and some of that could be, there is the personality factor. Maybe he thought he was feeling better than he was, and you get your timing off, or just any little thing, and then that's what the tournament is. You get in your head at all, and it's sunk. So
yeah, so. He does comfortably well, and he'll be on his way back up, and then we get to see him join that massive logjam. If he keeps his 8 and 7 stuff, I'm gonna for now I'll be like, oh boy, what's going on? I'm concerned.
Right, he's not on the caution list yet. He's in the,
Yeah.
We'll just take it as it is.
Yeah, him and Hokuto Fuji, they're on the not watch list.
Yeah, I like that. The not watch list.
It's the list. It's not a list of people, but we're sequencing a list of people anyway.
We have so many lists.
All these lists.
It's crazy. So next we have Koto Shoho. He is down from Maegashira 9 East to Maegashira 11 East, 6 and 9. Something's going on.
Yeah.
And he's going in the opposite direction that we thought he was going to go in.
It looked like the story was. He got back to the top division after dealing with his injuries, dealing with his mental state. Like he did his time in the penalty box, and now he's on the way back. But now he gets to 6 and 9, and we're like, okay.
It's not.
So if our original statement is true, that he is on the way back up, this is just like a bump in the road. Maybe he just couldn't get it together, whatever. So normally I'd be inclined to say, forget about it, just you'll do fine this time around. But again, like, part of Koto Shoho's problem is that he did have this mental collapse when he was up here the first time.
Right, and this is where you get into the personality thing. You have the Shodais of the world. You can't fix if you're somebody who puts too much pressure on yourself or has unrealistic expectations or any of these different things. And I get the feeling that maybe Koto Shoho is too in his head.
That's my concern as well, that there's some mental factor that's holding him down. So the hope is that he'll be able to sort of look at his experiences in the past and be like, oh, it's fine. I was able to rally back before. I'll be able to rally back now.
Right, and then it's just like the Meisei thing where it's like, okay, it just didn't work out this tournament, but I got it together by the next one.
So sending him positive energy.
Yes.
The good vibes, because it feels like that spirit bomb is just not going to charge itself.
Yeah, no, he needs a little bit.
He needs a little help.
Yep. So next we have Midori Fuji up from Maegashira 16 West to Maegashira 11 West, 9-6. That's a nice promotion. He is so cool with all those katsatsukashi. I don't think I even said that right. Katatsukashi.
Under shoulder swing down.
I hope his hernia is completely good. We heard nothing about it, but the way he performed suggests that he is back to normal.
On the up and up.
And we can expect some fun, exciting sumo from another little guy.
Yes. For like I almost don't want to talk about Midori Fuji.
That's how I was.
I don't want the curse.
The Enho curse.
The Enho curse. I was like, let's not. It really is like it's sort of just like it's that like sort of like, yes, he did very well. Maybe he will do better this time. I don't know. In the back of my mind, you're just like, go get him, go get him, go get him.
Exactly. It's like I want to just be totally robotic, but like yes.
It's very very like library celebrations.
Exactly.
Like, you're just like, yeah, God,
quiet clapping.
We're very reserved right now.
Just do it with your pinkies.
Just a little bit. Just really quiet. Not too loudly.
Yeah, because, the little guys are always, they're always the most vulnerable to just years of injuries because one wrong move and you're getting your head snapped.
I feel like if he does well in July and he's out of the buffer, I'll be like, yeah! Like, I'll be super loud about it.
Well, he could benefit from those slippery sumo because the fast guys, They can get around, and the other guys are like slipping. I hope we don't have too many losses where guys just fall over.
It'll happen. There'll be at least 3. I'll call 3.
There's going to be one with Midori Fuji where somebody tries to grab him and he's speeding around and they just fall.
Okay, well, I'll have to start a tally.
Yeah, we need to make that list.
That's a new list for us.
So next we have Teruyoshi. Now he's not such a positive. He's had a demotion of sorts. Down from Maegashira 8 West to Maegashira 12 East, 5-10. If this is not a case of someone in their head, I don't know what is.
I feel like it's just the same episode over and over for him. It's like he gets
just rewind the tape.
It's the same takeaways, and then he goes into the tournament, and then the same things keep happening. He's consistently inconsistent. Yeah, he's just stuck in this loop, and it feels like it's almost like he's just stuck on the highway and he just keeps driving past the exits to turn back around.
Yeah, that's exactly
so
it.
It's not like he's even like unable to get out. He's just like, nah, I'm gonna stay here.
Right. He's just going around.
And that's like so much a part of what makes him him in a way, which is also where it gets weird. Like, I tell you to pull yourself out of your own tailspin, but like, if you did that, then
what would we get from you?
No, would you become bland?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I mean, he's in the stable with like the top guy, so you would hope that these conversations are happening. But I got nothing for him.
I feel like everything I'd have to say are things I've said before.
Yeah.
For Teruyoshi, I'm just gonna buckle in and hold on to the side of the roller coaster
and just wait for that day where it's like, oh, he's in the Yusho contention, and we never saw it coming.
Well, it's like either he'll snap back and then Yusho contention, or he'll just fall off of the 42.
Right, and then we won't have to talk. We won't have anything to say anymore.
Then we can't talk about him.
I know. I mean, he's still one of the cool guys. Like, I just picture that flipped up leather jacket and riding down to the ring on a motorcycle.
And he's running out of ground. It's 12,
he is,
man.
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe a Jurio stint fires him up. I don't know. I hate saying that.
It feels so bad, but I'm like, maybe some time in Jurio will do good for you.
Well, you need something. He needs something fresh.
Sometimes it's fresh, or maybe it just doesn't.
Maybe he needs Asanoyama to come back.
Oh, he needs a fresh leg to pick.
He needs a fresh leg to pick. Exactly. That is my new favorite quote. Well, Asanoyama will be back this tournament, just not anywhere near Terutsuyoshi.
Sandame. Did I write it down? No, I didn't write down the number.
I think it is Sandame.
Sandame, like 60 something. He is. Ooh. I feel bad for whoever's in Sandame.
I know, he's just gonna be beating everyone up out of frustration.
Day one, you see a former Ozeki. You're like,
what did I do to deserve this?
God, I gotta do that. I'll look up the match fixtures for the first day. I'll scroll down. I'll just write down that guy's name, and I'll just say him a little prayer.
There you go.
I'll be like, dear Chio Moraki, whatever the guy's name is. I'll be like, I'm so sorry for your loss today.
Yeah, exactly. Every single day until Asanoyama hits Jurio, probably. Even then, I think he'll mop up Jurio, but we'll see. Sorry, Terutsuyoshi. We had to bring up Asanoyama. Next, we have Takada Fuji, Maegashira 12 West, down from Maegashira 7 East, 4-11. You know, he's older. He's definitely beat up. It's really about the will at this point for him.
So, I guess there's no stopping putting him on the watch list, but he was fighting like somebody in May who was injured and really didn't want to be injured. He was frustrated. He was angry, which you don't see out of Takada Fuji much. So, like, this is a guy who's just like,
why am I injured?
I don't want this. I want to beat up people. But, you know, a 12 West is a 12 West is a 12 West.
Is a 12 West.
It's a 12 West. I can't fight this one for you, Takada Fuji.
No, he's got to be healed up, and he'll do his thing if he's healed up.
Exactly. That's
the consistent.
That's sort of what I came to is, it's like, if there's nothing else going on, then there's nothing that's going to stop him from getting Kachikoshi.
Right. So we don't worry about him in the headspace thing.
No.
He's Mr. Stable.
No. He'll knock him over. Like bowling pins.
So there's not much to say besides I hope you're healthy and hopefully you're going to have a great July and get out of this funk.
Get out of the funk. Get healed up.
Next we have Ichi Yamamoto, Maegashira 13 East, up from Maegashira 15 West, 8-7. Now, I remember your comments about Ichi Yamamoto in our last session. Did he live up to your desires?
So here, I'm so glad you asked this question. So that 8-7 on paper does not sound like it. I want to remind you that he was 8-2.
Yes.
This is the big thing. I'm hoping he remembers the 8-2 and not the 8-7. I feel like he had it figured out and then got thrown to Takanosho, Daieisho, Wakamoto Haru, and Tamawashi.
Right, and it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, if you're just not ready for that, you're just not ready. But until that point, I was thinking to myself, wow, John must be like, yes, he's doing what I wanted to do.
I was so happy. He was like, right here, when he fought Aoyama, these two people were fighting for sole leader of the tournament.
Right, they're not going to lose to somebody like Ichi Yamamoto in that state.
They're not. And so, I mean, yeah, again, Daieisho, the guy who may be on an Ozeki run, you're not gonna. This guy, 11-4 special prize. What is he gonna do to these guys?
Exactly. He just wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. Also, these two guys, veteran pusher thrusters.
They were having fun with Ichi Yamamoto. They're like, "Oh, you want to go 8-2?
I know.
That's
like,
cute.
Look at you. You think you want a cup? There's the door. Goodbye." Like, by design, everything's fine. This is what you do to people when
they know it.
This is the game. I'm not,
It is a big game.
It is a big game. So that is my takeaway, though, is Ichi Yamamoto, please keep the momentum.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully he learned something from fighting those tougher guys, too.
Same deal with what I always say about Koto Eko. Like, take that experience that you are that far down on the match card. You were fighting for that 530 crowd. Exactly.
It should be a positive thing as long as he takes it in that direction.
He needs to think that way.
So next we have Chiyo Shoma, down from Maegashira 11 West to Maegashira 13 West, 6-9. It looks like the run is ending.
He is running out of steam. It feels like there's nothing stopping the slide for him.
Yeah, like he would need to come up with something new, and he's already the guy with the bag of tricks. So when the entire bag of tricks isn't working,
hard to get a new bag.
Yeah,
so it's sort of the same deal with Takarafuji in that, like, if he's got it figured out, he'll win. If he doesn't, he'll lose.
Exactly.
But, like, the thing is that, like, for Chiyoshima, it's more of a, like, did you find a new trick? Is it a new bag? Like, what's there left?
Right. There's nothing left unless you come up with something.
Yeah. Now, theoretically, maybe he's low enough down that
It won't matter.
It won't matter. He'll be able to do. And he has been showing that, like, surprising good traditional sumo chops.
Yeah.
But there's little odds and ends. Like, he's not, like, I'm not. So, like, Chiyotairyu, like, it's like a big worry. I'm like, I can't see the way out for Chiyotairyu. For Chiyoshima, like, there are ways out, but at the same time, you're running out of runway.
Right. You have to execute.
You got to do something.
Right, because everybody's always on the time clock, you know? Like, once you get that far down, you might get one more chance if you're lucky. And then, you know, you run into some good guys coming up from Jurio, and then you're out of luck.
You're out of luck. I think, yeah. I think he's fine so long as he doesn't get double-digit losses. I don't like saying that. For somebody who, like, I feel like needs to push in the other direction and doesn't want, you know.
Right, you don't want to, like, lower the standard.
You don't want to lower the standard. Like, for him, I'm like, come on. Think Kachikoshi. Think high numbers.
Yeah, don't think about the failure.
Yeah, don't think about how much you can fail and still get away with it.
Exactly. Exactly. So next we have Myogiru, down from Maegashira 12 East to Maegashira 14 East, 6-9. He went from, like, having that energized tournament where he's, you know, the top of his game, can't believe he's, you know, a veteran and performing this way, to looking like the veteran we thought he was. So where is he now? What is the situation?
He is running out of everything. He's running out of power. He's running out of Banzuke. He's running out of stamina.
Maybe even desire.
It's so... So for him, I feel like it's just like one good performance. Sort of like with what Okinomi did. He just, like, one good performance and he's back up and everything's fine.
Right.
Aoyama did the same thing.
Right.
Tochinoshin. Like, I feel it's one of those, like, he just needs a... It's like, if it was all, like, dice rolling, he just needs to, like, I just need to roll a 6.
Yeah.
I just need that high roll. And you just keep throwing the dice and you keep looking. You're just like, are you going to roll the high die? You're running out of chances.
Right. Are you going to roll the die in time?
Yeah. So
Sometimes the game is over and you roll the die
afterwards.
That was Kisa no Sato.
Yes.
That was Kisa no Sato. So we'll see. I mean, he just gets put on the list of, you got to do your thing, man. Next, we have Shudagisho, Maegashira 14 West, a return from Jurio, 10-5. So he's sort of in this in-between, Jurio, Maegashira. Where does he belong?
He's been towing that line for the last year or two. So he made his resurgence. He got back up through Jurio hell, and now he's been up and down and up and down. And I think there was a year or two ago, he was like 9 or 8. And now he was... You know, he's one of those veterans that was up top before and then fell down and came back up. Like, the trend for him is up, down, up, down, up, down. Sort of just like, it's like when you're 8 years old and you go to the hotels with the revolving door and you just keep running in the revolving doors over and over and over and over. Like, that's him right now. Mm-hmm. So it's just like when you were a kid. Like, eventually you're going to go into the lobby or you're going to run out of the lobby.
And he just hasn't figured it out yet.
Well, it's really where it's up to him.
Yeah.
To buck the trend and to just push up. And so it's like, Shurugisho, is it in you?
Right. He's too good to be in Jurio forever, but he may not be good enough to stay in Maegashira.
He's just the revolving door right now. So up to him to
take care of business.
Yep. It's sort of like this is the... And at the same time, I mean, you can make a living out of that, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, you got to ask, you know, what are some of these guys' goals? Some of them are just to stay in sumo and make money.
Yeah. So like, he'll definitely do that this way.
Exactly. So next we have Oh No Show. He was up pretty high. Maegashira 5 East down to Maegashira 15 East. I can't think of the last time he was injured before this.
He's not somebody who's typically injured, so this was a bit of a uh-oh.
Yeah, like here's the first time seeing something catastrophic. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
So the biggest problem that we were seeing, in our opinions, was that Ono Show just he couldn't find the higher gear. He just couldn't push that a little bit further up, and so he was just spinning his wheels in that Mega Shiro 3 to 8. He was just couldn't break through. Everybody else was breaking through. Kirabayama broke through. Koto Nowaka breaking through. Everybody's pushing, and he just staying in place.
Yep.
Tires just stuck in the mud. So, optimistically, just putting a big spin on a 2, 4, and 9 here, which also, it sucks, and it's a physical and mental toll. And again, cracked ribs.
Yeah, that's painful.
That's painful. That's a lot. That's bad. So, I don't know. But the thought is, there's the Ono Show fan crazy conspiracy theory with strings on the corkboard is that he's this far down. It's sort of like what we were saying with Meisei, that he's so far down that he gets a lot of wins. He's somebody who's big momentum fighter.
He definitely is.
So he gets double-digit wins, special prize, goes to the U Show maybe, not gonna get it, but to prove us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That what's a big confidence booster than a 13-2 and hoisting that cup?
Exactly.
That's nice. But I'm seeing this as sort of a pause, which is fine because he wasn't making any progress. Get some wins, gain some confidence, get some time away from the people in the grinder that were messing him up. And then when he's back up there, maybe he'll have another shot. Or maybe he'll just go back to spinning his wheels.
Right.
But I feel like, if nothing else, it's something different for him to try.
Right, it's a change.
We're coming at this from a new angle. If nothing else, there's science here.
Sometimes the worst things can turn out to be the best things for you.
Yeah. And again, it's all contingent on the physical and mental tolls on his body getting... That's not really a worry for me with him.
Yeah, a rib injury is very painful, but at the same time, it's not necessarily lingering. It's usually one that heals.
Yeah.
Depending on the break, whereas an ankle or something else like that, that could hang on for months and months and months.
Yeah.
So, we don't know enough about the injury, but it just seems safe to say he could possibly come back better than ever.
That's
possibly.
The feel. And, mentally, there's way too much fire in that kid for him to get knocked down.
Yeah, he still does have age on his side for now. He is getting into the middle... he's getting a little out of the younger class, but he's not a 30-year-old that this happened to.
No.
So, I hope he's healed, and looking forward to seeing what he can do. Next, we have Oho. Maegashira 15 West, down from Maegashira 14 East, 6 and 9. He's new. It's not the worst he could have done. But it's sort of okay, try not to repeat that.
Yeah. I was about ready because we were talking about the rising stars that aren't rising. We were talking with Hoshoryu and Koto Shouho that they have their own little struggles. So I was sort of ready to rip Oho a new one, and I was like, wait a minute, remember he had that 7 and 3 that turned into the 7 and 8.
Yeah.
For me, that's the Oho baseline performance.
Right.
So if he's not doing that, he's okay, and let him grow and learn, and he's just. Maybe just everybody's hyping him up like they always do for these dynasty kids.
And it's really tough on them.
And it's so, I was sort of I had to take a step back. I'm like, let's give this kid a chance. This has not been in here for long. He's showing promise. There's enough raw, unfiltered talent in there that you can look at and be like, there's something in there. There's a top division wrestler in there. You just gotta do some sifting.
Yeah, I like the sifting idea.
The sifting. You gotta sand the rough edges. You gotta purify the ore. So we're watching this in real time together.
Right, we're watching someone develop in front of us.
Let's just another chance to just do that. It's that 1850s gold rush, the guy with the big beard and 2 teeth just sitting over a river with a sieve, just I'm gonna get gold. There's some gold in them dar heels. That's him.
That's Oho.
That's Oho. Just waiting for them gold in them dar heels.
There you go. You gotta be positive.
Yes.
Send him positive vibes.
Positive vibes.
So that he can ascend. Next, we have Yu Takayama, Maegashira 16 East, down from Maegashira 14 West, 6-9. I mean, this is just the story of Yu Takayama. He's either, I mean, I think he's perpetually injured. I think he's Ikioi.
The new Ikioi.
Yeah, he's the new Ikioi, and it just is what it is. He's going to be fighting injured his whole career. Can he find ways to keep wrestling versus, like, I think that's the goal.
It's extending. It's the balance of, like, physical ability to fight, mental ability to tough it out, the sumo spirit somewhere in the middle. Him and Oho, by the way, had that barroom brawl.
Yeah.
That almost, I'm pretty sure that would have made, like, Chionokuni blush. That was like, for both of those guys coming out of it, like, they could have been 1-14, both of them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, these guys like sumo. They like what they're doing.
Right. They want
it.
They want to be in the fight.
Yeah. So for Yutakayama, I feel like, because he was having some, like, real mental struggles for a while. I feel to do a match like that, I feel like he's sort of over that. But now it's sort of like, well, you're over the mental battles, but your body is just held together by duct tape and string. So,
what's going to go first?
I know. It's just like, so I feel like there's momentum, at least some sort of evolution of the wrestler. But then I'm like, oh, wait, he was 6-9.
Right. It's almost like, unfortunately,
the record,
it doesn't matter.
I regret to inform you that your long story arc of finding yourself mentally has resulted in a losing score.
Well, here's sort of this is not really a good thing, but it's kind of funny. He was toe-to-toe with Asanayama. Hey, he's still ahead of him in the rankings.
Get him!
Oh, not good, not good.
Hey,
I'm just trying to give you Takayama something.
Let's let him have that.
We know Asanayama's going to zoom right back up, and, you never know if he'll take his Ozeki spot again, but I do not expect that we won't see him back in the top division.
The sober Asanayamas.
I think he's going to be,
year.
Yeah.
Well, if he's in Sandame, you've got some rowing to do.
Right, you've got at least a year to even...
This time next year, he may be looking at Jirio.
Yeah, that's a long climb up. Whew. Anyway, so Yu Takayama, you got at least a year where you're ahead of your rival. So next we have Daiamami, Maegashira 16 West, up from Jurio 6 East, 11-4. Interesting. That's interesting to me.
So Daiamami and Nishikifuji were both 11-4, and they were tied for the Jirio Yusho. And they went to Ryuden, who was Jirio 3 with a 9-6, and they said, better luck next time.
I don't think there's any surprise in the sense that both Ryuden and Hidenomi, who were snubbed essentially, both got into trouble, and that's how they got demoted.
Yeah, so
there might be some...
Yeah, so I don't...
I mean, the guys, Daiamami did the work to get the promotion.
He did. I mean, he was tied for the lead at the end of 15 days.
Right.
So does that... So,
plausible deniability?
Isolated from everything else on paper, it looks like maybe he did enough. I am going to leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, don't want to speculate too much.
A little bit too much. But so here's where this becomes interesting, though, because when Daiamami was last up here, good belt fighting, very is like middle of the pack sumo, and so he sort of just got overwhelmed by the younger, hungrier, more powerful people. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, can you say that Ryuden got snubbed and got vaulted over by somebody who didn't deserve it? Sure, who cares?
Right.
Here's the thing. Ryuden gets another 9-6, and then Daiamami gets a 6-9.
They just reverse.
So time sorts it out.
That's true.
I mean, it still sucks for July.
But it's like it's just 1 month.
It's just 1 month, and Daiamami, let's not count him out. He almost got Jirio Yusho.
Right, there's something there.
There's momentum. If nothing else, there's momentum coming from him. That he's coming on back with that runner-up trophy, and maybe it's just another Nishikigi. Maybe he's coming back. Maybe he's got a new spring in his step. Maybe he's like, you know what, I like it up here.
Right.
So
I want to stay.
So it's an opportunity for Daiamami to go forward to prove that this rank is worth it for him. And then for Ryuden, it's get an 8 and 7.
Yeah, and it's don't mess up next time.
Yeah, don't
mess up.
And then when Ryuden does come back, and then we get to see how he's been training, and maybe it's a little bit like Abi for him, that he sort of
has this like big rise at first. We'll see.
We're not done with the story, so
I wonder if he's still doing his like jockey thing, jockey Tachi.
Well, here's another thing: if we get somebody to go out,
then he'll be showing up.
Ryuden will be showing up. We could see how his jockey Tachi is doing.
I think he probably got rid of it, but maybe I'm wrong.
It was less pronounced near the end.
Yeah, he was starting to be like, all right, it's a little silly.
Also,
so speaking of Nishiki, wow, this is gonna be a hard one. Nishiki Fuji. I will have trouble saying that one. So he, wins the Juryo Yusho. He's first time in the top division. So he's got a lot of momentum, but now he is starting all over again. It's the interesting way that sumo works. Like, you go from being a yokozuna to wearing a tracksuit.
Yep.
And, like, guiding little old ladies to their seats. So, even though he was top guy last tournament, now he's bottom guy. What do you expect from him?
So, I don't know much of anything about him. He was in some Chris Sumo stuff. I was tempted to go back and sort of dig through his archives, but sort of just looking at what I know, he seems to be a grappler more than a pusher thruster. I think he does some slap downs here and there, but so do we all. The two big things is, one, the Juryo Yusho, which is always that, let's go.
Yep.
Two, sharing a stable with a certain yokozuna. And
you would think that would be the X factor.
And in turn, a certain Takara Fuji and a certain Teritsuyoshi.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's one of the more prominent stables where you're getting like real sparring.
And Midori Fuji as well.
Yeah.
So now we've got 5 people from Isegahama in the top division.
Man.
And there's an advantage there. And it also means that Nishiki Fuji, there's the dynamic. Now he's a new guy, he's got something to prove, but he's got all these teammates helping him out.
Right.
I feel like he's got a lot of positive pushing him up, but it's still the first time through. This is still,
and we know that can go either way. You could
the rookie experience is a very volatile one.
It is. So we wish him the best, and we're gonna see.
Yeah,
we're gonna learn together.
I expect it'll be exciting.
Yes, I expect that too.
It'll be something fresh and new, and I'll be paying close attention to all of his stuff,
so we can actually learn about who he is,
absorb,
which is very exciting, and then brings us to sort of the last guy on the list, Chiyomaru, back up from Juryo, who we don't necessarily expect to see stay here.
No, Any tournament in the top division with Chiyomaru is a good tournament. So
get to see that nice lime green belt.
The happy, jolly sumo. When he went down the last time, we're like, maybe we'll see him, maybe we don't. We saw him.
Right. So it's just like a gift, a little bonus.
It's nice. It's friendly.
Yeah. Not much to say besides,
Good to see you. See how well you do.
Hopefully we'll see you. Do well enough so we can see you again in September.
See you again. Could have been that his going down to Juryo made him refreshed. Could be that he's going to be like Tsurugi Show, that he's just sort of
up and
in
down.
And out and out.
Speaking of which, Shohozan unfortunately retired. At the end of his career, he was very much like Chiyomaru, where he was just clinging onto that last spot. But then he just hit a point where he could not. He could not stay in Juryo either, and when he finally ran out of time, he just decided to retire. So I will definitely miss him in all of his fights. He was one of the first wrestlers I noticed when I started watching sumo, and it was sad when he fell out to begin with. So I've already been mourning, but now it's like, there's not going to be a return.
When he fell out, it was I don't think he's coming back, and now he's Gonski. So there's. Like Ikioi, there's the hope of a late resurgence. It's
done. The sobering reality of sumo comes through in these moments. Mm-hmm. Like, these guys can't wrestle forever.
Yeah, it's like when Yoshikaze retired.
That was hard. That was my first retirement.
That was like, because Yoshikaze had that, I'm 40 years old, but I'm still going to fight to the bitter end.
And it felt like he was never going to quit. And then all of a sudden he quits and you're like, what?
Aww.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit more seasoned in this retirement thing, but it still hurts. It still hurts.
Still a little rough. Yeah, now then you think about it, and then you look back up to the Banzuke, and you're like, oh.
Who else is next?
You don't want to even think the question, but like your eyes, they move without your saying so, and then you start looking at people, and you're like,
you're like, when that person retires, I'm really gonna feel like,
I'm not ready for this.
So, speaking about this podcast, one thing that I think I would like to do, and hopefully will happen in this tournament, is that I'm just gonna have a random night where I'm gonna do a live chat. And we just talk about what's going on in the tournament, maybe what your favorite match of the day was, whatever other sumo things you want to talk about, just so that we can have more opportunities to, when you're a small channel like ours, you don't even get a community tab. So I can't even send you guys messages and say, hey, we're doing this special thing. So like you kind of have to build and be bigger before you can even really connect with the fans. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do at least once a tournament, is to do a night. We can chat, have some fun, and, then it's like just another thing that you can look forward to between the, what are we calling this? The preview. The preview and the recap just give you something else to look forward to during the sumo tournament. It's not like set in stone what day that's going to be yet, so hopefully you have your notifications on and you will just catch me, because everybody's in a different time zone, so it doesn't even help to pick a time either.
Nah.
So I hope you guys will just keep checking the page for whatever day that's going to be, and looking forward to a really good tournament. Do you have any words, Jean?
Well, did we want to put money down?
Oh, this part. This wonderful part that we always fail at. We should go back and make a list of all the failures.
All the failed shots.
Okay, so of course Smart Money's on Terano Fuji,
yes.
But I am going to say it's July. And it's going to be too slippery, and it's going to mess with Terano Fuji. So my pick is going to be dun 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 Daisho.
Beautiful. I love it. Daisho. Oh, yeah. I'm hoping.
You're like, I want that.
I just feel like just for the entertainment value that we can't pick the same person.
I know you wanted to pick him.
We can't hedge the bets. I'm also part of me is just like, I'm starting my look here. Like Mitaki and me running away with it. I feel like we've already done that.
Yeah, it's not gonna do that again.
It's passe now. It's totally so. Terano Fuji winning it.
Yeah, it keeps happening.
So let's go down here. So like I made a big deal about talking about these four. So somebody from here is gonna make the go. I'll put it on Kirabayama, knowing full well that will doom him to failure. So the fact that I'm saying Kirabayama is gonna get a surprise win means he's gonna go 5-10. I'm sorry. It's my fault.
Fact that you're saying that he's going to go 5-10 might mean that he is going to win.
Yeah, so it's all...
You just throw it all out there.
It's just in a blender right now. So the larger guess is that we're going to get somebody in the Alley Cat dumpster is going to come out with the gold, or very least a special prize, or very, very least...
Like runner-up.
Making something happen. This feels like the smarter pick, a Sekiwaki win.
Yeah, those two seem like they're the most likely ready if it's not Terano Fuji.
If it's not this is sort of like, this is the angle. I want to I want this bloody violent conclusion of this mess right here.
Yeah.
So win, lose, or draw. I want to see some double digit wins in this, and then inevitably there's going to be some double digit losses in this. And so this is going to be very interesting to watch.
Whereas I put Takakeisho always in this special box that no one else is in. And it's not just because I'm his fan. It's because he is good enough to win tournaments, but we never know his condition.
Never know the condition.
And he would never tell anybody, and you don't get many training reports from him. So without knowing what condition he's in, I always hesitate to say he's going to win. But he's in a box where he can always be looking in on it and either be a runner-up, mess with everything, or win the whole thing. So he's there. He's
there.
a lurker. But I don't know if he's in the physical condition to do what he is capable of doing.
It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be...
It is.
I feel like there's not... Well, I don't think anything big is going to come out of this. But it's just going to be
just fun.
Just good old-fashioned fun.
Summertime fun.
Yeah, summer crazies. There's going to be something that's going to upend all of this.
Yeah, and we're going to be totally wrong like we always are.
Yeah, of course.
But we actually like being wrong. It's kind of fun.
Comes out in our favor more often than not.
Yeah, we like the favorable wrong. So we're going to sign off for now, but hopefully we'll get to do some chat in between all of this and enjoy the tournament.
As always, thank you for listening.
Peace.